Back to our breaking news this hour. Donald Trump is threatening to add an additional 25% tariff on steel and aluminum imports, which are set to come into force tomorrow. That would push those tariffs up to 50%. So now for more on this, we've reached François Racine. He is CEO of Alu Quebec, an aluminum industry advocacy group. Thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
First, I want to get your initial reaction to that news from the U.S. president, potentially 50% tariff on steel and aluminum tomorrow morning.
Well, this is unrealistic. It doesn't make sense, and it's really getting out of hand. I mean, it's an ego contest with someone who doesn't care about his people or the impact on the economy. I mean, it's really getting personal. And as I said, there's no sense to this. Unfortunately, it will make everything more expensive. It will create loss of jobs on both sides of the border. And there doesn't seem to be an end to it. I mean, at some point, I guess we need to have different people involved in negotiating this because, we're getting nowhere and it's just getting worse. And there's to a point where 25, 50, or 1,000% will basically be the same result. So it's just crazy.
So when we're talking about the job impact, can you give me a little bit more detail on that? Because already, as you mentioned, with the 25% threat, there was some consideration for what that would mean for employment within the industry in Canada. What does 50% mean? How are things looking now on that front?
Well, to be honest, I don't think it will change that much. I mean, 25 was already creating a lot of damage. And you know, there are two different set of tariffs. I mean, one on all Canadian goods, part of which was pushed back to April 2nd, but it's already in effect for many products, Canadian products. And that 25% is making Canadian products more expensive. And a lot of our members have lost orders to their U.S. customers. Basically, their U.S. customers are telling them, we will stop buying from you until we see some clarity. We just can't afford to possibly pay more, like 25%. So 50 or 75 or whatever, I mean, 25 was already too much, so it won't really change on that sense. On the other end, the 50% now that we're talking about on steel and aluminum will first of all make aluminum more expensive in North America, which means that the North American customers, including the US ones, will pay 50% more. It will make their raw materials much more expensive, and whatever they produce will cost a lot more. On top of that, on the list of aluminum products subject to the 25%, it's a little bit different from what we saw in 2018. I mean, now basically anything made of aluminum is subject to the same 50% tax. So if we're talking about window frames, doors, light poles, external cladding, whatever, anything that has aluminum in it would be also subject to a tariff of up to 50%. I mean, it will depend on the value of the aluminum in the finished products. But what it does, it's, making Canadian products so much more expensive that obviously, it will put a stop on all export of Canadian finished products or products made of aluminum in the U.S. It's a little bit different from the primary aluminum producers. I mean, the U.S. don't have any choice. I mean, 60% of what they buy comes from Canada, and it will take months, if not years, to replace the Canadian aluminum. They need to qualify other sources, and again, it will take a long time, and in the meantime, they will have to bear the price of a much more expensive aluminum, which again doesn't make sense and will make their product basically too expensive, as far as I'm concerned.
Have you had an opportunity at all to speak with people who are working in the industry following this morning's news about how they're feeling right now about all of this?
Not specifically following this morning news, but about the expected 25% tariff. And again, most of the companies that we deal with who are making products made of aluminum or promoting the use of aluminum, basically fear and expect to lose most of their U.S. sales. And we have some members who heavily rely on exports to the U.S. So obviously it will be very damaging to them. And, you know, we're talking about developing new markets, increasing productivity and all those things. But, I mean, that will take months, if not years, to develop new markets. So short term, companies are hurt. We're pushing to increase local purchases from public entities, federal, provincial, and municipal entities, and not just talks, but real action. And that will mitigate some of the loss to their U.S. customers, but obviously it won't replace all the exports. So short term, I mean, severe damages, and I mean, we have to expect a loss of jobs, obviously.
And very finally, in the last 30 seconds I have, how long does this last for and the impact that the length of time has on the industry? And I just have 30 seconds left for that.
Well, I mean, hard to say, but it will, again, leave some damages. And I mean, it will impact the way the contracts are being written, the way both countries do business together. I mean, it will leave very sour taste. I mean, and will make things a little bit more complicated. And I mean, hopefully, sooner than later, we'll find an end to this.
I want to thank you for joining us and for your thoughts today. That was François Racine, and he is the CEO of ALU Quebec, an aluminum industry advocacy group. Thank you.
Thank you.